117, 113 in overtime. Donovan Mitchell, remarkable, wills the team to overtime performance with 41 points. The Jazz on a night where they couldn't buy a three again. They get brutally out-rebounded. And the key to get in transition in a game where both half-court defenses were just brilliant, the Phoenix Suns get out in half-court. They outscore the Jazz 21-10 in fast break points. They outscore the Jazz in second chance points dramatically as well. And the Jazz somehow are able to get this game to overtime, able to battle. They show great fight and grit, but they cannot get the victory. We'll be talking about taking your calls and your thoughts or your comments all coming up on POSTCAST. POSTCAST is brought to you by two of Utah's great companies, Grip 6 belts with the great no flap, no holes, perfectly fitting belts at grip6.com. Check them out, whether it's the Naturalist set, the Workman belt, or the great honeycomb belt I'm wearing right now, but I promise I won't show you. Go check it all out at grip6.com. And promo code LOCKED, also brought to you by Biograss, another Utah great company. The Big Yellow Bag, getting you all of the things you need for your gardening this great summer and make your garden look like the best in the neighborhood. It is the BigYellowBag.com, promo code LOCKED on. All right, let me give you my take on this one. Really, it comes down to this. The Jazz can't hit shots again. 25% three-point shooting is the worst they've had all season long. The game is going to come down to a matchup of the Jazz ability to make the above-the-break three. The Suns, we're going to force the Jazz into that shot with their defenses and against the Suns' ability to make the mid-range shot. And the Jazz go 8 of 34 on the above-the-break three tonight. It's really where the story of the game probably starts and ends. The Suns go 19 of 41 on their mid-range shots. The Jazz really can't be too upset about that, frankly. They're going to get those shots. They're shot 46%. That's 0.92 points per shot. All the Jazz have to do to beat that is shoot 35% from three, 33% from three, and the Jazz don't do that. They go 3 of 10 on corner threes, but they go 8 of 34 for 0.75 points per shot on the above-the-break three, and that's the first thing that crushed them. The second thing that's so interesting about what the Suns are doing, and it really is something that doesn't totally show up in their numbers, they changed their game plan to do it specifically to the Jazz, I think, because they're only 22nd in the league in offensive rebounding, but because the Jazz are able to bring Rudy Gobert out and they bring him out to Devin Booker and Chris Paul to try to bother that mid-range shot, what ends up happening in that setup is that the Phoenix Suns then are crashing the boards, and DeAndre Ayton is just dominating the glass tonight, keeping balls alive and giving the Suns opportunities, and the Jazz inability to close out on those shots. By the way, the other one that killed the Jazz tonight that's worth noting, fourth quarter and overtime tonight, the Phoenix Suns 5 of 12 on above-the-break threes, the Jazz 2 of 11. So when it really gets right down to it, in overtime and in what actually happened to the Jazz is they got beat at their own game. The Phoenix Suns were the ones who made their shots. The Jazz went 8 of 10 at the rim in the fourth quarter and overtime tonight. The third one was the Jazz, who are not a good transition defensive team. Really, I thought lost this game with the amount of transition. Chris Paul is just a master at pushing the ball ahead, getting Devin Booker opportunities. Devin Booker has been a terrible clutch player all season long. He generally was in the fourth quarter again tonight. But in transition, the Suns were able to get out. They were able to be in transition 18% of the game tonight. That's about their season average. They average 81.5% of their possessions in the half court. They were at 18.3, so they were right there. Their regular rate of transition, they got 1.5 points. In the half court, the Jazz defense was incredible. So for all we're going to talk about, the narrative you're going to hear from everyone is, the half court game and Devin Booker and Chris Paul in the half court game. It's not true. The half-court offense of the Phoenix Suns scored 81 points per 100 possessions tonight. What killed the Jazz was second chance points, which was a little bit of the fact that Gobert comes out. We don't have another big on the floor to help. And secondarily was the push-ahead transition game where the Suns were in transition 18% of the time. The Jazz could not do that. They were only in transition 12% of the game. The Jazz cut that down. They win this game. Truly, that's the number one item more than anything else. More than the missed threes, more than in the middle mid-range jumpers. The Jazz inability to deny the Suns their transition opportunities and the amount of transition that the Suns got late in the ballgame to get Devin Booker 3 or 4 field goals or shots like that late in the game where it matters. So that's my take on this one. Donovan's got to get a lot more support. Donovan was just truly brilliant, but he did not get a lot. There's a lot of guys tonight who, when you look at, if you gave them like impact on the game scale and Donovan's peaks this way, there's a lot of guys whose impact on the game scale never moved. Like they had no weight on this game tonight. You can run down the Jazz roster and ask yourself, impact, no. Impact, no. Impact, no. That's the problem. Not enough guys had an impact on this game from the Jazz point as well. All right, let's go to the various comments. PK Schaff, 25 second chance points for the Suns. I actually don't have a box score that gives that to me any longer, do I? End of fourth quarter, they had 14 offensive rebounds for 18 second chance points. And let me see what I have. Do I have the same thing? Do I have 25 second chance points? I'm sure you didn't make that up. No, I've only got 18 second chance points tonight for the Suns. It seemed like that was high, but that's still, Jazz got outscored 18-9 on second chance points. They got outscored 21-10 on fast break points, and they hit 25% of threes, and somehow this game got to overtime. Like, from that standpoint, it's a pretty gutty, remarkable effort from the Jazz to actually be in this ballgame, and Donovan was just amazing. The Jazz need another wing defender, says Christian. I don't get that out of this game, actually. So, I mean, I've thought all year long you might need. So, one is who do they play in front of? So, we can all need another thing they got to play. 2, we can't go get one. And 3, actually, I don't get that from this game. Our half-court defense held them to 84 points per 100 possession. Their offense, which is their half-court offense, is the 4th best half-court offense in the NBA. They were in the 14th percentile tonight in their half-court offense. Like, that's a pretty unbelievably great defensive effort by the Jazz. That's how we stayed in the game. Like, as much as I'm like, oh, my gosh, how did we stay in the game? We stayed in the game because we had an unbelievable defensive half-court effort. Why did Ayton seem to be outplaying Gobert on a bunch of plays? I mean, Ayton's the number 1 pick of an NBA draft. Like, the other guys are really good, too. Like, DeAndre Ayton was drafted in front of Luka Doncic, which might not have been a smart move, but somebody thought it was an all right move. He's drafted in front of Trae Young. Like, he's really good. Like, he's going to get a max contract. He's really, really good. So, like, Rudy can't outplay him every play. Lack of rebounds killed us. Major loss, so bummed, says David. It's a big loss because it would have been a mammoth win. I mean, really, that's the way I would say it, is like, that's the way to look at it. If we had gone up 3.5 on Phoenix, tied the season series with the schedule they have upcoming, that would have been a mammoth win. For Phoenix, they're back in this thing. It's now, thoughts of rest and things, and we got Portland tomorrow probably without Mike Conley. Like, that's tough. This is why I hate games like Orlando, because the law of averages bend you over after them. That is accurate. But that's a tough 2-game stretch for us. It's been a long time since the Jazz had a really quality win against a fully loaded team. That might be true. It also might be a case of, like, it's not our fault if we're playing teams without guys. Like, there's really only really big quality win. We haven't played Denver recently. We played the Clippers when they were loaded. We haven't played the Lakers. We played Phoenix. We didn't play Brooklyn. We haven't played we lost to Philadelphia. And who's the other team? In Milwaukee, we beat. So, didn't we? Yeah, I think so. So we lost 2 or 3 games against good, and we lost to Dallas. Like, okay, so we've lost 3 games. We've had 3 chances. I'm not sure I'm going to go. I mean, yeah, it's accurate. It's just not a very big sample size. Royce and Bogey hesitating on 3 completely shuts down the offense when it's moving the ball, which they rarely did tonight. Royce is playing like Draymond recently, huge negative on offense. Royce is struggling. There's one play in specific that Royce bypasses a shot, rotates to Bogey. Didn't look like he was anticipating the pass, and it's a killer. There's no question that if you're not willing to take the shot when it comes to you, it's hard. But, like, also, let's give Royce a break. He's missed, I think, 12 straight threes. The game's on the line. He's trying to do the right thing. Like, Royce takes that shot and misses it. You guys are all killing him for you've missed 12 straight threes while you're taking that shot. Like, it's kind of a no-win situation when you've missed 12 straight threes. So you're out there. You're doing the best you can. You don't want to hurt the team. He knows it. It's not like he's not aware of the fact he's struggling. Everyone asked him in a press conference this week if he didn't know it already. So, I agree. Like that play was really evident that he didn't want to shoot it, and then Bogey wasn't ready for it. So we'll see. Ayton was a beast tonight. Ran the floor way harder. I'm not worried though. It was our guys to play minutes like that tonight. Yeah, I mean they're really good. They've won 28 of their last 34 games, 10 of their last 11, and we went to overtime with them. And by the way, like in regulation, they dropped Devin Booker for 39 minutes and Chris Paul for 38. I don't think Chris Paul checked out in any point of the fourth. I think Chris Paul played all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter and the overtime. Like, if you don't think Phoenix wanted this game, like they gave that's like, I'm not sure I'm the biggest believer. I've heard the Jazz players say, "Oh, we're getting everyone's best punch." They got their best punch tonight. They got a playoff punch. And what a little bit of what's going on between the Jazz and the Suns is their coaches actually want to convince their teams that they're good enough in these moments. Bigger issue in your opinion, shooting woes or defensive rebounding? Shooting woes. Shooting woes. I mean, we got like our team's built to make shots and be a good shooting team. If we're 25% 3-point shooting team, it's stunning to me we got a game to overtime. Utah needed this win to show the doubters they're for real, and they failed. No moral victory here. It's an interesting. I mean, I think the Jazz need this win because they would have clinched the 1 seed basically. I actually don't know that like it matters if you convince the doubters of anything last time I checked the standings, but I guess for our own moral pride as fans, we could have walked around and pumped out our chest and told the doubters they were wrong, and that would have been really fun. But I don't think it actually. I mean, truthfully, if you're really if you're worried about like standings and things like that, the 5 home games against not very good teams we have coming up here are far more important than either Dallas or Phoenix. Like road games against Dallas and Phoenix, they're kind of gravy. What we got to do is win the next 5. We have a 5-game homestand right now while everybody else is exhausted. We got to win all 5 of those. We've earned the right throughout this season to now go win ball games against teams that aren't good and hold on to the number 1 seed. Like, truthfully, like, if you really get into it, like, we go win 5 straight home games and Phoenix drops one of the 2 next. It's over. Like, that's back. We're back to where we were. So, yeah, other than the moral pride and the fact that our offense was bad in the first half, but we answered it with 38 and we battled like that, it is, yeah, that's it. All right, that is Locked On Jazz postcast tonight. Have a great night. So tell me what you think. I'm curious to hear. Okay.